Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. So on this episode we're going to get the E36 all back together and we're going to take it for its first drive, so stay tuned. So unfortunately you can see all the pedal box is completely taken out. I've actually had to take the pedal box out again. So unfortunately the clutch master cylinder wasn't sealing correctly with this fitting here. It just wasn't actually being held in the back of the master like that. And when we've gone to bleed it, it's actually just shot out and obviously gotten brake fluid everywhere. So the actual end was the incorrect fitting. It was just slightly different. So it's all fixed now. We have a new line, but we do have to just run the line again from the master all the way back down to the slave and pop the pedal box in, obviously. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Not sure how much I'll be able to show. Alright, so I'm not sure how much you can see of that, but it's all done. I'll show you here's the new clutch pedal, and you can just see the master up there, and then obviously here's the brake pedal. So that's all in. Now I've just got to run the line to the master, and then we'll start bleeding. So we've done everything under the car. You can see the transmission mounts are all done up now. The drive shaft's connected. The shifter is connected behind there. We've also just zip tied the O2 sensor there just so it's out of the way, and the exhaust is now on and it's done all the way to the back of the car. So pretty much everything underneath the car that needs to be done is done. We just needed to put together the front of the car now. So now that the engine's all buttoned up, the gearbox is all connected, drive shaft's done, exhaust is done, everything's done under the car. We're just going to get cracking on putting the front end back together. Should be pretty simple, just going to be the reverse of the installation. So we'll just get cracking. So unfortunately the previous owner actually put in a 4-cylinder radiator, which is slightly smaller. It's actually slightly shorter, so it's not going to be up to the task of cooling the car. So we've actually got a new alley radiator going in. We've just had to modify one of the mounts here. So I've just got a piece of hose that's rubber just to insulate it, and then I've just got the original like L bracket. Someone's put a metal L bracket in, and I've just drilled the hole for the little stud to go in from the radiator, and then that should fit in nice and easy. In the long term, we will need to just order another one of these mounts, but we just don't have one, so to get us going, we've just got that. So we actually just hit a snag last time. Unfortunately, the hose that we got, which was the B28 hose, was too short. So we've actually had to get a 2-meter long, 22mm diameter hose, which is actually pretty hard to find. But we found one. Unfortunately, it's in blue, but that's just going to run to the overflowed tank, which will sit here. so you've got the radiator all mounted up now, got the expansion tank mounted, all the lines are routed in through the fan shroud, and the fans all mounted. So yeah, she's pretty much all plumbed up. We just need to chuck on the front bar, and then we'll just chuck on the headlights. Alright, so now everything's back together pretty much. We're just going to fill it up with some coolant. We've just got the blue coolant mixed up, ready to go. So the first drive didn't exactly go to plan. The engine developed a knocking noise coming from the top end. So we've just torn it down to sort of figure out what the issue is. It seemed like the intake cam was rather loose. So what we've actually found is the intake cam sprocket was actually on the wrong way around. It was that way with this lip facing outside. It should actually go in that way. So I think what was happening is that wasn't properly locking the intake cam, and that was causing the timing to sort of go off. It was still locked within the range of motion that Vanos has, so it didn't damage anything, luckily. Just caused the engine to run really poorly, and you can hear that it was rattling around. I believe that was something to do with this rattling. Something to note as well that might be also causing the issue is we are using the latest style locking mechanism, so it uses one single plate. The design was updated to use a spring washer and a thin and a thick plate. Unfortunately, it's actually really hard to get those parts to be able to get it, so we've only got one spring washer. But for now, we'll just run the old style, see if that fixes an issue, but we may need to upgrade to the latest style M52 locking mechanism for the intake cam. Now we just have to re-time the engine, put everything back together, and then she should be good to go and good to go for a first drive. Alright, so we've managed to put the Vanos unit back together. We just got to torque up the bolts. The tricky thing is, just because we are using an intake cam on the exhaust side, these nuts don't line up with these plugs. So we actually have to just get them tight with a spanner and then just rotate the engine a little bit to get them to line up here so we can torque them to the correct spec. Just a trick I've been using to get the crank to TDC, because the radiator and bar is in the way, is I've just got the viewfinder on my GoPro. I've got the ratchet on the crank pulley, and I'm not sure how much you can see, but I've just hold the GoPro there with the viewfinder on my phone, and then I'm able to line up TDC there. So a bit of a trick, just that way. Don't have to pull out the radiator. Alright, so we've just checked the timing by putting the crank on TDC, and then we've checked it with the 3D printed blocks in the back. Everything looks all good, so I'm happy to go ahead and put the bungs back in here, and then we'll just put the valve cover off, put the coil packs and plugs in, reconnect this, and we should be good to give her another start, and fingers crossed she's not making that noise anymore. So everything's back together, we've got the coil packs back in, we've primed the engine, so now we'll just go and try to start it. We'll pray that that noise is gone.
I think it's fixed. I can't feel anything. It's catching the revs really easily, and before it was hesitating heaps, so I think it's actually fixed. Wow. And even stabbing the revs before it was dying, and now it's basically taking it like a champ. Wow. Got it back down on the ground. We've just bled the coolant. It seems like it's getting up to temp. All good. Now pretty much ready to take it for a first drive. Just going to be really careful on the temperature gauge. Obviously these cars like to get a little hot, so we'll just keep an eye on her and hopefully she should be all good. Alright, so we're ready to go for a maiden voyage. Just going to take a photo of the odometer so we know when it's going to be broken in and stuff. Alright. Whoa. Bit hard to drive in the boots. The throttle's like so touchy, it like needs to be adjusted, and also the clutch is. Oh.
Stop.
What the? So we just had the horn and the indicator on, like wired incorrectly. So every time the indicator went on, it was busting the horn, which is pretty funny. But luckily I got my trusty little assistant with small as heck hands that can get in there. Should be all good now.
Don't hear that really nice looking 46.
I know. The revs kind of hang because like even when I let off the clutch, sounds good though. And the gearbox shifts pretty well, like feel how easy it is to like go into fourth. Ready?
Wait,
go.
No, which one's
fourth, down.
Oh, that's so much easier than the 46.
Well, the throw's longer, so it's like you've got more mechanical advantage against it.
Perfect for me to learn it.
Perfect. This clutch might be a bit tricky though. We'll see. It could just be that it's new. I can't tell if it's like slow or down on power. Alright, made it to Macca's. Let's get it home. I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, how many months has it been?
Oh shit, I don't know.
Or are you trying to hide that from the viewers?
Nah, it's been 5 months. Wait, 5 months? So November, December, January, February, March,
Oh
April.
yeah, that's a pretty good
So
time.
5 months. Not bad.
We made it.
Did make it, and we didn't even overheat. That's the main thing. So there you have it. She made it home, did her first drive. She's all good. Now I've just got to put a few kilometers on it just to break in the engine and break in the clutch and everything. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe and like and all that great stuff. In the next episode, we're going to be welding the diff and getting it ready for its first drift event. So stay tuned. We'll catch you on the next one.